what is environmental sustainability? I mean, I would say it's really about thriving businesses and societies within planetary boundaries. But the most important, I guess, is how do you operationalize it in your company? And for us, it's what we've done through our Ambition 2030 roadmap. And the objective of this is to enable and inspire positive impacts through our supply chain, our brands, our employees, and our partnerships. So that's really what we mean with environmental sustainability. And why is it important? Well, I would say because it's expected, from all our stakeholders, and nature is one important stakeholder. I mean, if I start with our consumers, I mean, 9 out of 10 consumers are now saying that they prefer brands that have a social or environmental commitment, and all the way to investors who are now saying that sustainability is the new investment standard. So it has really evolved from being a nice to have, or some said a moral imperative, to being a business imperative. That's really what's important. So yeah, an important topic, and we're on it.
I mean, it means caring for the environment, right? Creating high quality products. They are responsibly manufactured, taste good. Remember, we are food companies, so it needs to taste good and do good. And we really believe like our brands have a very big, enormous impact on people's day lives, right? And with that, I mean, and that size and scale comes the responsibility to our consumers, right? So that's why we believe in making this impact and again, helping shape the world, right? The way we are looking now at this environmental social government, right? The ESG term. We've identified a few areas that we want to impact, which is environmental stewardship, responsible sourcing, healthy living, and community support. So this is how we're guiding ourselves in terms of sustainability, and that what it means for us, and guides all the discussions and decisions.
So only a minority of people will pay a price premium for it, which is kind of the disconnect. I was mentioning 79% are seeking environmental friendly products, but only 15 to 20% would pay a price premium for it. So they expect this to be part of what the brands needs to deliver. And we agree with that, by the way. I mean, we price for performance. We don't price for sustainability. And so what they're expecting is both the performance and the good for the planet, in the equation. And that's our philosophy for developing products that offer no trade-offs. So this is why innovation is absolutely critical. Otherwise, you can't make it. But I need to mention also the reality of very often, the sustainable technology would be at a premium until they reach, the economies of scale. And we've seen that on the renewable electricity. We've seen the price of solar panel plummeting, once they had reached scale. And that's the same, not just for sustainability, that's the natural S-curve, of technology. I think for me now, I'm seeing another challenge, which is more of a marketing specific one, which is the positioning elements. It's how do you integrate sustainability in a way that is credible and authentic for your brand, that is not borrowed interest. I mean, what we are seeing today, which in a sense is good, is a race to the top. It's like everybody understand that this is a place to be and they want to go, but sometimes it doesn't fit with the brand, so it doesn't come across as authentic. And this is why at P&G we've actually established a formal way to integrate sustainability into our brand building. And if you think about it, I mean, we invented brand management 100 years ago, and so now we are talking about reinventing it, making sustainability part of it. We call our framework Brand 2030, but as part of it, we are encouraging our brands to define their North Star, an environmental or social commitment that is long-term, fit with the brand equity, is measurable, and is brought to life over time with tangible acts. And this is not easy.
The only thing I would add here is in true like Booth spirit, right? Is using the right data is always is a challenge, you know, because I mean, and that's how you can really make the right decisions along the way, and it's not always obvious. The data is not always straightforward, and so we try to do is working with subject matter experts and to make informed decisions that and communicating those decisions. Yeah, I would say here, JP, the biggest challenge is probably managing the different stakeholders at all times, because there are conflicting moments. So how do you balance this act and not be responsive, short-term responsive, right? Because what will happen, and that comes not only the stakeholders we talk, there is also the press and activist groups, etc., that they will come in specific times to ask you for specific decisions that could be very short term. But and how do you manage the challenge of not necessarily trying to please all the stakeholders, but keeping the North Star and what you want to achieve or what the biggest impact is, and staying course. And I think and it responds a bit of the second piece, the courage. Well, I think the courage is again believing that if you're doing the right thing, you have the right strategy. You know, keep the focus on the long term. You know, keep the focus that the long term will pay off, because that's it's always tough, right? You have the pressure of the short term, and as humans, when you're trying to debate, no matter if you're talking environmental sustainability or anything, I mean, short term versus long term, you tend to move to the short term, to the quick solution, but keeping yourself focused on the long term and what's going to deliver the better results for every stakeholder in the long term. It requires courage, right? It requires courage to go against what will be your instinct on the very short term, because the long term will be beneficial. I would say that that's the biggest one.
You want the honest answer or politically correct?
No, the honest answer.
It is a burden. I mean,
Yeah.
it is an immense effort, you know, throughout the company. But we also understand that we have to do it because we need to give data, you know, for investors and other stakeholders to make an informed point of view. Now, my wish would be that we are able to consolidate, because this CDP is one of zillions, you know, that we have to fill. I mean, it comes from customers, retailers, it comes from all parts of, and so, you know, and many are working on standards, but we really need to be able to standardize this data and reporting, because you know, we don't want to get to a place where we spend more time reporting than doing the work.
Fully agree. I said that before. It's one of the biggest challenges, right? Right collection of data and science. It is not easy. So yes, using the different providers, but also standardizing some of the metrics will be helpful. But yeah, it will take time. It is a challenge.